Hi everyone, Harrison from the VoiceForm team here, and thanks for checking out this video that covers best practices for voice surveys. So as you know, VoiceForm is a survey and form builder that lets you build surveys that mix and match the best of quant and qual question types, leveraging voice, video, text, and more to create super engaging surveys, forms, and workflows that feel like a conversation. But today we'll be specifically covering our voice capabilities and how to create surveys that leverage voice questions and also voice response questions. So being able to ask questions with voice, but also have your users respond with voice as well, and some best practices on how to make sure that those surveys get you the highest possible conversion and the greatest amount of engagement from your audience. So let's dive in. So in our blog post that we have up on our website, voiceform.com, we'll also post a link to the survey in the box below this video. But essentially, we cover 7 top tips for how to just launch really amazing voice surveys. So we'll dive in. So the first one is mixing and matching question types to keep customers engaged. So this here really ultimately means that within our platform, you can mix and match a ton of question types: multiple choice, true, false, voice questions, yes, no questions, so on and so forth. And what we find is that by mixing and matching quantitative and qualitative question types, you really help keep things fresh and engaging for your audience so that they're constantly engaged and can efficiently navigate through your survey or form. So we definitely recommend making sure that you mix and match question types to draw out the best possible data that you can from your audience. The second tip of 7 is to keep your questions focused. This is particularly relevant for your voice questions. So when you're having open-ended questions that you want users to respond to in voice, we find that keeping questions to the point and usually only covering one item in the question versus a bunch of sub-questions, for example. So you can see here in this example, it's really important to just ask one thing at a time. So, why do you think you do your best work before 10 a.m. is like one great example of a pointed question that is an awesome starting point for users to, give their commentary with voice in an open-ended way, versus layering in a ton of sub-questions like, why do you do your best work at 10 a.m.? Is it because it's the best time of day for you? Is it the best environment for you? Can you tell us more about that? So again, layering in these sub-questions might convolute the question and also prevent the user from going deep. So breaking those out into single questions is definitely the best thing you can do for those voice questions. The next, users love a warm-up. So again, voice surveys might be new to your audience. So give them a warm-up question to try out the voice response capability, or give them some context or preference that when they're diving into the survey, there's voice questions involved. So we always feel like giving that warm-up is a really great way just to make sure that users are comfortable with giving their responses with voice. Next would be follow-on questions, help users elaborate. So again, this kind of ties back to one of our previous best practices that you want to make sure that your questions are direct and pointed. And if you want to elaborate with follow-on questions like tell us more, can you add more context to this, break those out into sub-questions versus layering it all into one. Option number 5 for best practices, or tip number 5, is context is key. And so here, this just ultimately means that, again, this is a new experience, a voice survey. Make sure users are informed before going into it, what they can expect. And really, that just helps you get the best possible responses and conversion for your voice forms. Number 6 is help users know your why. So ultimately, share your why with your respondents. Why are you asking them a survey that leverages voice? How does it benefit them? How does it benefit your team or your company / organization? By giving users context as to why this is the type of survey that you're sharing, particularly with voice, the more likely you're going to get a higher engagement level and more responses as well. And then lastly, meaningful incentives go a long way. So of course, you're looking to get feedback from your customers or employees. And so you're looking to get something, and ultimately it's great when you can always provide something in return to your audience as well, as a thank you or as a motivator to getting you the best possible data. So whether it's something as simple as a gift card, a discount code, or some resources or information as a thank you to your users for participating in this survey, that's always something that we love to see and recommend. And always, of course, that translates into better data, better engagement for you and your organization as well. So those are 7 quick tips on how to ultimately get the best results from your voice surveys. If you have any questions, always feel free to reach out. Check us out at voiceform.com and give VoiceForm a try. And of course, we're always happy to address your questions. Thanks so much for tuning in on this article.